This is Eric Wayne with United Realty, your favorite business broker. We're at or past actually the 60-day mark in our marketing effort. And I thought we should just communicate a little bit, give you an update as to where we are and what's going on with the listing and what we're hearing and what we know at this point, given, now we have financials that we can talk about. We're further along in the year and so forth. So two things that I really would like to address with you. One is pricing and the ratio of the adjusted net for the trailing 12 months for one owner, which we have signed off on, and our asking price. So I want to address that with you. And then the second component is the commission to the buyer's agents in the associations and what they're seeing. Because we were willing to work with you, as far as accepting the listing on your direct orders. This is what we're willing to pay and that's it. So we did it and you're getting the results of that. And I know that there's something better out there. And if you want to know about it or hear about it again, maybe it'll make a little more sense. Agents shouldn't, but they do shop commissions. Because if they have a qualified buyer, they're looking at a sale that not only their buyer would like, but that they and their broker would like. The listing agent, in this case it's myself, I'm willing to work with my sellers. However, 95% of all deals are done with two brokerages working together because they're motivated financially. So we've kind of removed that from my marketing abilities because 4%, which is half of the 8% that you would only go up to, is not motivating 1,100 databases or 1,100 other business brokerages like myself, all of their teams. I'm not able to get the benefit of their efforts of years of marketing and all those tens of thousands, maybe millions of dollars worth of marketing between all 1,100 of us. So you have my database, you have my retail, you have my clients, you have my team. But the most important part of being a member of the BBF or any association is that we all network together. Let me show you what I'm talking about. And 95% of the deals, buyers brokers work for free, but they're paid from the deal. So if we offer too low of a commission, they just don't come to the deal, which means their buyers don't come to the deal, which means you're missing 95% of the marketplace. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is how do we motivate buyer's agents to work with your listing agent who can broadcast to other guys that are all working with buyers and are all needing to feed their family and pay their business bills. And, their broker takes a piece, taxes take a piece, running their office takes a piece. And when they're shopping, a $500,000 potential sale and it's not priced properly and it's not motivating them properly, they just don't call. So I feel that's what I'm facing. It's not the way it should be, but it does happen. So let me just share with you. I've shown you the sold database. This is the active database. This is our competition. I'm going to show all Florida, and just because it's automotive, I'm going to pull automotive. And I'm going to say any type of automotive, because I can't assume that a buyer is only looking for painting or, specific. They're looking for an income. I'm going to just draw the line here at 150. I know you're stating 200, 220, somewhere in there. But just to show you what agents, the agents do the shopping for the buyers. The buyer's agent, not me, but the buyer's agent. Somebody in Tallahassee that has a buyer sitting in front of him, he goes into this database and he does a search and he says, okay, here is what's active for my buyer. My buyer's qualified. I'll have no problem getting a loan or he has cash or whatever it is. What is the best deal for both of us? The buyer's agent and the actual buyer themselves. He's looking for the highest likelihood of success. So let me just share with you. I already took out, if you look over here on the right side, the margin, you have me over here at O, okay? It's 8%. Most of my listings and the way I proposed it to you was G, which was 12%. You put us in at 8%, as if 8% is going to accomplish what 12% will do. Now, I know I've explained this because it's a big part of my business. 8% and 12% do not get the same visibility or support when we're talking about agents working together, brokerages working together. And the majority of transactions are with two offices. So what I'm saying is, I'll take the listing down here, but it's not going to make a sale because the 95% that I'm looking for to lend me a hand and get into their 1,100 databases, they're shopping up here. So we're low as far as a commission and we're high as far as an asking price. At the moment, we're not being sensitive to what the agents motivation will be. And I've already shared with you what the sold's motivation is because I showed you what they're selling for, and we're overpriced as far as an asking price. And that's why you're only getting, in my opinion, that's why you're only getting several inquiries. Now, we've called hundreds of people, and thousands of people have looked at my ads. And I have a whole association of guys that are working with their buyers, and they have databases, and they have teams and secretaries and telemarketers. We only got a couple in 60 days, so something's wrong. If the business is as great as I believe it is, and as my seller tells me it is, what's wrong with it? Well, number one, I think it's overpriced because I look at the historic solds and I can prove that. But secondly, it's this rate code. They're offering, the K stands for 10%, which is 20% better from 8%. It's an extra point. So if we were priced properly and the agent believed, hey, they're priced properly and I'm going to get compensated properly, the agent makes the sale for the buyer, and then the listing agent, me, I get a phone call from the agent who says, yeah, I'm comfortable with that, and I believe I can sell it because you're in line with what they've been selling for. But I'm not in line with the asking price today, and you've got to let me know how motivated you are. If you really want to sell it, we've got to come in at a fair price. And I'm going to compensate my peers the way that they're accustomed to. So I'm just going to scroll through here. And this 100 means add two zeros. So it's a minimum of $10,000, K, which is 10%, which is the majority of listings. And I think I counted once, it's about 80%. Well, we don't want to be average. We want to outbid the other guys because it's a buyer's market. And there's only a few qualified buyers at a time. And if you want to be on the market for years, you'll eventually get the same volume you could if you offered them one more percentage point. And the agent will help you to get that extra couple dollars at the sales price if we compensate them and they start working with us. So there's another one that's a K. Here's AA. AA is other. We don't know what that is. But this is $45,000 minimum. But see, here's the thing. You can see 155, they're asking 900. These are not solds. I showed you the solds, and I'm going to go back to that if you'd like. This one is about the commissions. Here's AA, other, and you got to call the agent and find out. Here's G. Now, if we go over here to G, it's 12%. He's offering 33% more commission. The seller is offering a 33% more commission, and it just so happens, look at this, he's only asking for 2 times earnings. So that's a more favorable deal. To make 155 on 375 and only asking 320 is a much better deal than 200 for 750. So the ratio between the adjusted net, the horsepower of the business, I call it, and the asking price, you're too far apart. Well, you can't do anything about the adjusted net today, about 2020's numbers, but we can do something about the asking price and the down payment. Now, this guy's also wrong about the down payment. It should be a percentage of this because we know what they sell for. They usually don't sell for 100 pennies on a dollar. Although you're welcome to ask. I'll do whatever you want. I told you that. But I'm just telling you, this guy, all things being the same, this guy would take the sale and we would lose it. And the agent is motivated and we would lose the agent and we would lose the buyer. It's 2 sales we have to make. We have to sell the agent on bringing the buyer. But then we got to convince the buyer that we're in line as well. So G, he's going to get 6%. Or he's going to get, from us, he's going to get 4%. But a much more difficult sale because, or an impossible sale, because we're asking $750 from his buyer to make $220. So I hope this is making sense because it's a little complicated. Here's 8%. The guy's making $156. He's asking $645. That's not what it's going to sell for. But that's why businesses are on the market for a year, 2 years, 3 years, because a seller is overpriced, under-marketed, and it doesn't work. It's just there's too many sellers. Here is 10%, $10,000 minimum. And he's at 2 years earnings. We're at like 3.5. I can't get you that couple of $100,000 more. Buyers don't need to pay it, point blank. This guy's almost reasonably priced. Yeah, he's at 2 times and he's motivating the agent. He's at K, $10,000. K, again, is 10%. That's the majority. I believe in being competitive and outbidding the 10s. That's why I go to 12, because that extra 1 percentage point will get you more showings. It'll actually, I believe it'll get you all the showings that are in the market, which only means that you have more people inquiring, more showings, more offers, more opportunities to find that quality cash buyer that loves what you have. And the agent, because he's getting 12%, is motivated to help you get top dollar. So the extra 1% is coming out of a price that you only were able to receive because you motivated the agents. In other words, you're going to get a smaller sales price if we have less marketing, because you're only going to have 1 or 2 people that are bidding. I had an auctioneer's license for 15 years. I can tell you that if you have 100 people in the room that all want something, you're going to get a better price than if you have one person in the room bidding on it, because then they're in charge and they can offer you whatever you want, whatever they want, and there's no means of comparison and there's no competition. It doesn't bid up the price. So here is G. This guy is going to get shown before my listing. And that just, my competitive urges are upset with that. And he's priced more in line. He's almost at 2 years. He's just over, it looks like 2 years. And that's an asking price. Somebody makes an offer, he's going to take it. It's going to bring down the ratio, probably under two times earnings. Here's O. Now, this guy's asking 2.2 to make 167. Would you buy that? Would you buy that? Would you pay 15 years, to maybe make 167? The cost of the money will make sure that you don't earn 167 anymore. He's not going to make 167. He's got $2.2 million and he's asking for it in all cash. Well, that money is better used somewhere else with a business that'll produce $1 million in profits. So that's how it goes. Here's K. So I hope I'm making my point. So that's the average. This is, a little more than double. It's not going to sell for that, but it's automotive related, auto body, auto repair. It doesn't make a difference. This guy's overpriced. It's never going to sell. Here's 10%. Which is 20% better than we're offering. At the very least, we need to be in line with the others. If you don't want to be competitive and make sure you get every buyer, at least you got to be at 10%. This guy, he's at about 2 years, but he's going to sell probably for less than that. Here, K, here's G. It's 20%. So, every 100, you're going to get 20. That's the rule of thumb that I come up with. I hope it makes sense to you. I'm not obligating you to do anything. Here's G. Agents will show this one. And, but look, he's overpriced. He's asking for 5 times the adjusted net. No one's going to do it. For $1 million, they'll go up in their own shop and they won't have the overhead of the $1 million. It's too much of a burden. And unless there's a huge amount of equipment in there, you got to read it. There might be real estate in there too. Here's 12% also. He's asking for 3 times. Too high. We know they don't sell for that. Here's 10%, $15,000. 10%, 12%, 12%, 10%. That's us. This is us right here. I'm offering O 8%, which means co-broking is 4%. Well, the G's are going to get shown first, right? Doesn't that make sense? And look at your ratio here. I'm going to give you the numbers in a minute, but you're not at 2 times earnings, which is about what they sell for. 2 times earnings would put you at 440, which means $310,000 extra. I don't see it. I just don't see it. You have a lovely business. It's nothing personal. If you say, Eric, I'm not budging, this is my number, but I don't think we're going to succeed. Not in a recession. Not with what's going on out there, not with competition the way it is. All these people want to be sold. And by the way, they don't have to buy an automotive shop. There's 2,300 or 3,200 opportunities in this database. And then there's people trying to sell it on their own, which have even less marketing power. Here's 10% again. Here's O. There's a couple of O's, but it's not going to be effective. We know it's not effective. 60 days, we see the limited results. My colleagues are not working with me. They're just not doing it. G would do it. There we are. 10 is average, 12 I'm very comfortable with. The majority of my sales are at 12. That's what it takes to get it done. And we got to be priced properly, which I'm going to cover on my next video. Would you pay 2.5 to make 300? Would you pay that ratio? Doesn't make any sense. On 1.1 in sales? Doesn't make any sense. Take that 2.5 and go make $1 million too. That's too high also. All right, thank you.